The Evil Dead, for me, The Evil Dead was huge. Evil Dead, saw it late at night, 3 a.m, and I was like, oh, I'll watch this. I was 15. And the minute it started, the boom out of the smoke and going across the water, I went, what is this? And it was kind of like listening to like punk rock music for the first time.
Actually, like a very amazing, virtuosic movie. But the reason I love it so much, like a punk record, you could tell it's a bunch of 19-year-olds out in the woods of Tennessee who are just figuring it out as they go along and just have tons of, like, there's Sam Raimi and Bruce Campbell and Rob Tappert and Tim Sullivan. All these guys are just like super excited.
Basically just a bunch of 19 and 20-year-olds and an airy BL in the
shopping
woods.
Cart.
And a shopping cart. And just went, it was like being into music and only listening to like Pink Floyd and King Crimson or something. And then you hear punk for the first time and you go, I can actually, this is hitting me on the same level, but I think I can actually do this.
Yeah.
On small 16 millimeter cameras, like an Arri BL and, Arri S, I think. And it was a bunch of 20-year-olds making a movie. And I could see, it was kind of like punk rock, it was like, I could see how they could do that, how they did it. And I went, I think I could do that, get those camera angles and make something like that. I felt very confident. Yeah, the projectile cinema kind of thing, the camera, the shaky cam, where the camera's on a 2x4 and they run with it. Wow, all that stuff, Yeah. That's really great.
And the story that they shot it, and then the actors were all like, we got to go back to college. And so everybody left, and it got down to where it was like 3 dudes in a cabin with Bruce Campbell, making him do all these things for months and months and months, because they were just like, we want to get this right. And then that the assistant editor was Joel Cohen of the Coen brothers. And funny that Joel Cohen was the assistant editor on it, because if you watch Blood Simple, their sound effects, you could tell they're using the same sound effects library, because they're using a lot of the same sound effects. So the same dog bark, there's a fly noise, there's like all these things where you're like, that's the same they're using the same shit. They're recycling the sound effects from Evil Dead. That's rad, so that one was massive.
The making of that movie is very funny to me, because they didn't know what they were doing and they were figuring it out as they were shooting it. And if you watch the movie, you can tell, it's one of those movies, if you know the backstory, you can tell what happened during it, where they're figuring out how to make a movie and they get really good by the end of it. Like he's just shooting with a 16, I think it's a BL, like an Arri BL, and he's doing amazing camera work. Do you remember that movie where like the camera flies everywhere on the shaky cam and all that stuff? But the actors all start leaving. Like this actress left and this person left and this person left. So they had to hire someone from inside in the town in Tennessee where they were shooting to come and play this person and all that stuff. And so I always found that to be a very inspiring story of just people shooting something and just having a dream and going like, we're going to go make a movie. We're from Detroit. We know nothing. It's just a group of people making it because they love it and they want to tell this story. And it's a wacky, insane story, Evil Dead. But they have the confidence enough to have their own style, or they don't know enough to have their own style, which I love. And I just would have loved to have sat and watched those guys go, if we do this, hey guys, look, if we do this, it looks better. Oh, cool, and they start, figuring it out. And we just watched it last Halloween. It really holds up. Where I thought movies, in order to make movies, I had to have a budget. And the minute Evil Dead started, I went, wow, I see how they're doing this. It kind of looks like the videos that I'm making on my own, but this is way more effective. The guy, whoever's operating the camera in this, is incredibly talented. It was very effective, the way they shot it and the way it was cut and paced and the pacing of it. And I just went, maybe I could do this, And then that was when all my videos changed to me, chasing my sisters around in the woods.
They were all kind of Evil Dead spoofs. It was them running and me chasing them with a camera and, making our own fake blood and stuff.
Trying to match those shots and learning about lenses and going, oh, they had a 10 millimeter lens. Oh, okay, that makes sense. And got me really interested in making my own movies, was seeing the Evil Dead. It was what gave me the confidence to say, like, oh, I don't have to be like some sort of, genius wonderkin or whatever. It's like you can just kind of like figure out how to do this stuff. You don't need a lot of money. And so I found it incredibly inspiring. And then on the show I do, Barry, there's an actress named Jessie Hodges, plays the agent, Lindsay, and her mom is Ellen Sandweiss, who gets raped by the tree in Evil Dead. And she was like, my mom was in the Evil Dead. I go, she's the one that gets molested by the tree. She was like, that's her, which is the most unfortunate scene in that movie. It's a movie that I show people and I go, okay, there's a scene in this that's kind of lame and really unfortunate because the rest of the movie, it tonally doesn't fit with the movie. It feels like when I first saw it, I almost turned it off. I was like, what is this? But then I stuck with it and it was so good after that for me. It almost felt like, again, the people paying for it or whatever was like, we need something fucked up sexually in the movie.
Sex scene.
We need a sex scene. So they're like, well, how about a tree rapes a woman? But it was really terrible. It's a really terrible scene. So anytime I watch that, I always fast forward over it. And I've heard that Sam Raimi also regrets doing that.
And there's a scene in that film where this woman is looking out a window and she's guessing the cards that her friends are playing and they don't understand how she's doing it. And then she turns around and her eyes are white. And she goes, that scared the hell out of me. And then the irony is that actress, Ellen Sandweiss, her daughter is an actress named Jessie Hodges, and she's in Barry. She plays Sally's agent. So when I met her and we were talking, she was like, my mom was in a little horror movie called Evil Dead. And I went, wow. Wait, who is your mom in Evil Dead? And she was like, and that was her. And that was that. And I go, oh my gosh, that was a profound experience in my childhood, or adolescence, was seeing that film. And that film also was a film, I think for a lot of filmmakers, it was the one that kind of made you, it was like listening to punk rock music or something where you went, oh, I see how they're doing it and it's really effective, but I think I can do this, And so you picked up your camera and you would chase my sisters around, or you would try to do all these kind of Evil Dead things.